So let's talk about today's topic, which is eating. Oh god, my writing is terrible. Eating healthy. Yay! Let's talk about eating healthy. I'm glad you're having fun. First of all, what is food? Kind of obvious question, but what is actually food? What is it made out of? Well, I'm glad you asked. Food is made out of several key components. I am going to write down all of them. There are about, I want to say 8 different types, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the exact number. The first one are carbohydrates, we will call them CH. Fats, like oil, don't mix well with water. There is nucleic acids, which is the stuff that your DNA is made out of. There's protein, which, as you know, there's a lot in meat, so I'm gonna draw a little steak over here. It's a piece of steak, I swear. But then you also have a couple of different stuff. You have biominerals, and I'm gonna draw a little rock over here. And don't worry, we're gonna get into all of them in a little bit, so don't worry. It's a rock. I'm not the best artist, I know. We have biominerals, we have vitamins, very important. Hot. Finally, we have electrolytes. You know what? Let's add antioxidants, because why not? Let's add antioxidants. We'll do it like an O for oxygen and then like a big red. Meow, meow. Okay, so let's start with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is just sugar. Yeah, it is. It's glucose, it's fructose. It's basically simple sugars. Sugar molecules are kind of small. They're basically just a hexagon that's made out of oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen. And you know what? All of them are really good. All of them are very, very reactive. They like to react with stuff. This means that when you have a bunch of them together, there's a lot of energy that is stored inside of this molecule. And your cells want that energy because doing stuff in this universe is hard. This universe is very hostile. Every action that you want to take is being resisted by this universe, which is why you need to have energy to pretty much do anything. So carbohydrates are the building block of food, and they're usually what you count when you talk about calories. When you talk about calories, you're usually counting the fat and the carbohydrates. Now, calories are usually treated as this evil thing where you should eat less, but it's more complicated. It's more complicated than that. Carbohydrates on their own are good for you because you need energy to live. So this is also why having a snack every once in a while is a good thing. If you eat a piece of chocolate every once in a while, it's a good thing. You're putting sugar, you're putting energy into your body because your body is constantly consuming energy. So you gotta feed it because your body is like a very beautiful machine and it needs to eat. Now the next thing on our list is fats. Fats are basically chains. They have like a base and then the base is connected to chains of carbohydrates, of sugars. Now some fats are important to your body for various reasons, so you need to eat everything. There's nothing here that's bad. You pretty much need all of them. You need all of them, but fats also have this neat property where they can be broken down into carbohydrates. Not all of them, it depends which, because there's a lot of types and your body is good at breaking down some of them while not so good at breaking down others. So you need to make sure that you're eating the right ones, and your body can also make fats. So obviously if more calories are coming in than going out, your body has excess energy and it stores that, and the way that it stores that is with fat. It just links all the sugar molecules together until you get these really long chains. Next is nucleic acids. It's the bases that you know, A, T, C, and G. Remember, apples grow on trees, and cars go in the garage. A's goes with T's, C's goes with G's, always. You don't have to worry about nucleic acid. Your body can actually make bases pretty much from scratch as long as you have other stuff. And also anything that you eat, all the food that you eat, this is something which can be easily overlooked. All the food that you're ever gonna eat was once alive. There's no food that just comes because we just like made it, because we don't just make glucose and stuff. We get food from stuff that used to be alive and stockpiled and had excess energy. It had excess energy, so it stockpiled them, or it just built like building blocks, and then we break down those building blocks. works. Next is proteins. Proteins have this reputation for being the best kind of food, and there's good reason for it, but also you need carbohydrates and fats. There's good reason for it because the thing about protein, your body can't store protein long term, but you need them. You really need proteins because everything in your body that does something is pretty much made out of proteins. Like when your cells have these little machines inside of them that do stuff, then the stuff that is being done, then like the machines, they're proteins. Proteins are obviously made out of amino acids that form these long chains that then fold onto themselves, blah, 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 blah. In the human body, there are 21 types of amino acids, out of which 9 are essential, meaning your body cannot synthesize them from other amino acids. So you need variety. You need some variety. You need a little bit of variety in the food that you're eating to get all of the necessary proteins. If you don't get them, then your body just can't make the machinery that it needs to, live, and then stuff is going to go wrong. But your body cannot store excess proteins. When you eat proteins, which usually come from other creatures, the proteins get broken down into amino acids, which your body then breaks down and reuses for its own stuff. Which your body absorbs. Your body absorbs it can break some amino acids, but it can also just absorb and use them. And if you have too much proteins, they're actually going to turn into carbohydrates. That's right. If you have too much proteins, it's going to turn into sugar. This is why you can get fat from eating proteins. Like if you only eat, like fish for every meal, all meals, then you're probably going to get some sort of disease. But yeah, you can get fat. But it is harder because the process of turning protein into sugar takes energy. So you need to spend some energy. So overall, you're getting less out of it, which is why if you're eating a lot of proteins, it will be harder to get fat from that. But it can still happen. Like if you eat a lot of food, then a lot of food is coming in. If your body absorbs a lot of stuff, then it's absorbing a lot of stuff. Like there's no magical thing that you can eat forever and not get fat. Or there might be. We'll get into that a bit later. There might be some magical stuff because science is awesome and has discovered many wonderful things about food. But we'll get into it. Next, you have biometals. Should I just start chewing on a rock? Maybe, kind of. An example of, biometals biominerals are when you have minerals in forms that are organic. You can digest a lot of them. Some of them you can't, and they just come out. Anything that you don't digest, like anything that comes into your mouth, either has to come out through the poop or your body absorbs it. There's no third option. It either goes into your body or it goes out into your poop. Some things you can break down, so they get absorbed into your body. Some things you can't break down, so they just come out in your poop. You forgot vomiting. That's true, but you don't normally vomit. If you're vomiting, then that's because you've eaten something really, really bad, which you shouldn't have. Yeah, and you can have like ulcers and have holes in your stomach and blah, 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 whatever. Usually there's only 2 methods. It either comes out in the poop or you digested it. So minerals are very important. An example of mineral is iron, which is in your blood, which is why your blood is red. Your blood is essentially just rust, right? Iron, oxygen, it's rust. You need a lot of iron. And if you don't have enough iron, if you have iron deficiency, sometimes you can get doctor prescribed eat iron. Like there's cereal that have little iron flakes in them to make sure that you're eating enough iron. It's literally just small chunks of iron that you're eating and then your body just breaks them down. Now, in order to be able to absorb a mineral properly, it needs to be something which is called it needs to be bioavailable. Minerals that are not bioavailable, you can't digest them. You can break them down into the components and you can't absorb them. So they just come out. They come out in your poop. Okay, well, maybe some nasty ones you can absorb and then they kind of build up in your body or you pee them out. But normally if it's not bioavailable, you just kind of poop it out because your body can't use it. And this is the point where we hit bioavailability. I'm going to talk a lot more about bioavailability later, but I'm going to talk about bioavailability later. But bioavailability is a really, really big thing. Not everything that you eat, even if you eat something that has a lot of calories, it's not necessarily going to get digested and absorbed into your body. For example, uranium has a ton of calories in it. But if you eat uranium, you're not going to get those calories. You're just going to die, probably. But yeah, we're going to talk more about bioavailability later, but just so that we know what we're talking about. We know what the stuff is. Also, there's no place for fiber. Here, let me make a little extra area here for fiber. This is for like more advanced molecules, I suppose. Whatever. It's not just fiber, it's like more advanced molecules, but whatever. Okay, vitamins. Minerals. Minerals are mostly stuff that is connected to like metals and stuff. Vitamins are different. Vitamins don't have a core element that you need. So hemoglobin has iron in it. You don't when you eat iron, you don't necessarily need it in a specific form. You just need it in any form that your body can digest. Vitamins are different though. Vitamins are very complex molecules, very, very complex organic molecules. So something that used to be alive made them, and vitamins perform specific functions. They're basically very important complex molecules that your body needs. They tend to be a lot more complicated than stuff like than the minerals. They tend to be more complicated than glucose. They tend to be pretty big. There are two kinds of vitamins. There's fat soluble and there's water soluble. According to the name, it just means that they either dissolve in water or they dissolve in fat. And this is a big thing because if they're water soluble, you can't really stock up on water soluble stuff, which means that you cannot poison yourself by eating too much water soluble vitamins. It's also really hard to poison yourself by fat soluble vitamins, but eat too many water soluble vitamins and it just flushes out of your system because you literally cannot stockpile them. Your body is generally pretty good at keeping the stuff that it needs. So normally you don't get poisoned by stuff because it only keeps what it needs and it throws out the rest. But yeah, vitamins are important. You need them. They perform specific stuff. One of the only vitamins that humans can make is vitamin D, which you need to be in the sun. Your skin cells make them when you're out in the sun, so make sure to get enough sun. What happens when you drink too much water? You peed out. Yeah, that's why super high concentrated vitamin supplements are probably a waste of money. Yes, exactly. See, you're already starting to pick up on stuff. If you need vitamins, which can happen if you don't have a very enough diet or you don't eat enough greens or whatever, you can be missing vitamins, and that's fine. But you only need small amounts of specific types, and vitamins are not hard to find. There's no special thing which you can only get from this one very specific fish that lives in the Himalayas. Think about it. Your body needs this stuff to live, right? Why would you need this extremely esoteric thing that you cannot find? Obviously, your body has spent a very long time adjusted to the environment that you're in and to the plants and to the plants and animals and stuff in your surrounding. If you're an Eskimo and you live in the snow, obviously you can just live by eating penguins. It hasn't adapted that much, but the human body has adapted pretty well. You don't need this super esoteric and hidden thing. There's not this one strange chemical that doctors don't want you to know that you eat and then all of your problems get solved. This is why the really expensive vitamin supplements and the like are not particularly good. If you're worried about vitamins, just get a cheap multivitamin gummy at the store or whatever, just generic. Also, vitamins are not particularly hard to get. A lot of living beings have vitamins in them because they perform important functions, not just for us, but for the thing that we're eating them from. So vitamins are everywhere. It's not that hard to grab some of them and put them in a fruit gummy. You might be missing vitamins, that's fine, but you don't need super expensive supplements with stuff. Honestly, you should really be taking supplements if you know that you're missing specific stuff. Most supplements, unless you're actually missing the thing, they're not gonna just fix your life. That's just not how the human body works. A lot of stuff, if you eat too much of it, if you're already getting enough from your normal diet, say you're already getting enough aluminum from your normal diet and then you take aluminum supplements, it's just gonna flush it out. Your body's gonna go, hey, I actually have a lot of aluminum, I don't need more of this, and then you're either gonna poop it out or pee it out. You can drink enough to actually die, but in carbon. Yeah, you can die, but you need to eat a whole lot. Maybe vitamin D if you have a chronic disease with osteoporosis, or in the winter if you have. Yeah, if you're missing a specific thing, you can get it. If you're worried, you can buy cheap multivitamin gummy bears or whatever. And if you're very, very worried about it, get a blood test. Do a blood test. They will literally tell you, hey, you're missing this and that. And they will just tell you what's wrong with you. Yeah, straight up, you can do a blood test and then tell you what's wrong with you. Amazing what modern science can do. Back in the day when something was wrong with someone, they just put leeches on them. And then they sucked all their blood. We don't do that anymore. Except for some very specific diseases. But anyway, let's talk about fiber. And not just fiber, but just complex molecules in general. So this means fiber, cellulose, a bunch of stuff. A bunch of stuff goes under that category. But I'm going to talk about fiber because that's the thing that you're probably hearing about the most. What is fiber? Well, fibers are usually made out of long strings of carbohydrates, like the fats, except they're built in a different way. An example of fiber would be something called cellulose. Cellulose makes up the outer wall of the plant cells. So plant cells have cellulose around them, which makes them rigid. Animal and fungus cells don't have that. Funguses have like chitin, and animal cells just have the fatty membrane. They don't have a wall. The thing about fibers and stuff like this are usually built as building blocks. They're for structural stability. They're supposed to be hard. They're supposed to, like whatever they use are. Maybe they need to be elastic. Maybe they need to be rigid. Maybe they need to be hard. But they're usually used for structural support. Because of that, a lot of them are very tough and are very hard to break down, which is why your body doesn't digest them. Fibers have calories because they're made out of carbohydrate. They're made out of sugars. It's a chain of sugars. It has calories in it. But if you eat a fiber, your body is not going to be able to digest it. And in that way, because you're not able to digest it, you're going to poop it out, essentially. And fibers have really important roles. Specifically, there are two kind of roles that they play, depending on if they're soluble or insoluble fibers. So soluble fiber will kind of melt into the liquid that they're in and make it into a gel and make it like more jelly and so. Their job is to make sure that you're not digesting the food too fast. Yes, that's literally what they do. They will make the stuff in your stomach slightly more viscous, making it a little bit harder to digest. You're still gonna get the sugars, the calories out of it, but it makes it it makes it slightly harder to digest, and like it makes it move a little bit slower. And because of that, you're digesting at a slower pace. Now, this is a good thing because if you digest calories too quickly, you're going to get a sudden influx of sugar into your body, which is not good. You don't want your sugar levels to spike and then go down and spike and go down. You want your sugar levels to kind of remain stable. If they're stable, then it's the best. This is why you want food that will last for a long time in your stomach rather than just having like 12 quick meals made out of snacks that will keep you through the day. You want to make sure that you eat stuff that is actually filling and will stay in your belly for a while. That will stay for hours, so you can slowly break it down and slowly extract the calories out of it, maintaining a stable blood sugar level throughout the day. The insoluble stuff remains solid, and then this is why your poop is solid. Yeah, this is why your poop is solid, because there's a lot of stuff left in there, especially fibers and the like, and they remain solids. The fibers, you're not directly consuming them, but the fibers help with digestion because your stomach is built in a way where it expects there to be a lot of fiber in the food. It works best in that kind of scenario, pretty much. The title of the stream, I didn't talk about it yet, but the title of the stream is why you should actually eat wood. Now, obviously, you shouldn't just go on and munch on bark. That's not very good, but you know what is in pretty much every food nowadays? Fiber. And you know the main source of fiber? Cellulose. And you know where cellulose comes from? Among other stuff, trees, aka they get it from wood pulp. It might sound bad to just take pieces of wood, grind them down, and then put them in your food, but it's actually really, really good. Because like we said earlier, having more fiber means that you're digesting the food slower, so it regulates the amount of sugar that's coming into you. Rather than having sudden sugar intakes, it's keeping it stable. So fibers are not this magical thing that you need to eat to absorb into your body. Instead, you need them to be there when you're digesting the food. You need when you already have food in you, you need the fibers to be there. And fiber is also why eating an apple and drinking a can of cola is not the same thing. Because like Coke obviously has a lot of sugar in it, but so do apples. Apples are even if they're not like the sweet apple, but the sour or whatever, apples have a lot of sugar in them. A lot of sugar. You'll be surprised by how much. But wait, how come when you're drinking cola, the sugar is bad, but when you're eating an apple, the sugar is fine? Like, why aren't you worried about it? Because it matters less how much sugar you're consuming and more where it's coming from. When you're eating the apple, you're also eating a lot of fibers and a lot of the nutrients. You know, you're getting the minerals, the vitamins, you're getting important stuff that your body needs. And also you have fibers that slow down digestion and help your stomach regulate how much of the sugar you're absorbing. So you don't just get a huge sugar intake all at once. Also, the cellulose has this quirky function where it expands when it can absorb water and expands. So it literally bloats up in your stomach. And because it bloats up in your stomach, it literally makes you feel full. Because this is why salads and the like can make you feel full, because they like expand inside of your stomach. Because they just absorb. But it's a lot of water, it's not extra calories. Not that you can digest the cellulose anyway. And yeah, and depending on if you can digest it or not is a really, really, really big thing. See, say that you want less sugar. Say that you're making a diet drink and you want there to be less sugar in it. Well, there are two ways to go about it. The first way is you just make it a lot more sweeter. Say aspartame. The thing about aspartame, which is used in diet cola, is that aspartame is really, really sweet. A lot sweeter than sugar, many times sweeter than sugar. So even if you add a lot less of it, even with trace amounts, you still feel the sweetness. But because you physically put a lot less of a substance in there, you're getting a lot less calories, which is the trick. But then there's another trick. See, you take something which is sweet and has a lot of calories, but that your body can't actually digest. There aren't that many of those, because usually your body is usually your body is sensing the thing that it wants. You feel something tastes sweet because there's a lot of sugar in it, because you need sugar. Sugar is very important because you need energy. So there aren't that many things which taste sweet but your body can't digest, because the sense of taste is specifically meant to measure how much sugar is in here that I can digest. But there are some, but they do exist. There aren't many of them, but they do exist. Stuff that is very sweet but that you can digest. This means that something can have a ton of calories in it, but you eat it and you don't get a huge intake of sugar into you. It's not just about being fat. It's about just, you're not gonna feel well if you constantly have spikes in your sugar. It's bad for you. Next, let's talk about electrolytes. What the hell are them? Well, salts, pretty much. It's just salt. Okay, so there's sodium chloride. You know them, you love them. I love table salt. Sodium chloride is made out of sodium and chloride. One of them has 7 electrons in its outer shell, and the other one has 1. So one of them wants to get rid of the electron, and the other one really, really badly wants an electron. So when they meet each other, they just swap. The one that has the 1 electron in its outer shell just gives the electron away to the other one, and then both of them are happy, and then they stick together because magnets. One of them has a positive charge because it has 1 less electron, and the other one has a negative charge because it has 1 extra electron. So like magnets, they attract each other and then they stay together. But you know what also is magnets? Water. Because water is magnets, it can actually separate the two. And then you have this kind of free-floating ions. You have this like free-floating sodium and free-floating chloride. This is what electrolytes essentially are. They're just like these free-floating ions. There's a lot of them, and your body needs them, like potassium, sodium and stuff. Magnesium, I think, as well. Your body needs them. They're very important. They're very important for a lot of stuff. One of them is literally to generate electricity. Hey, your nerves generate electricity. Your heart generates electricity. How do you make electricity? By making a gradient. You put a lot of positively charged stuff in one area, and then they want to move because they don't like being together. And how do you get a lot of positive charge in one area? Electrolytes. Now, the idea with sports drink and why they put electrolytes in them is that water that you're consuming is as salty as the inside of your body. When you drink normal water will usually be less salty than the inside of your body. But of course, the biggest tip, healthy food is tasty food. If you're suffering for health, eventually you're just not gonna do that anymore. You're gonna stop eating healthy stuff if it's not tasty. There are so many ways to mask taste. You don't like greens, just mask the taste. Put it in like a smoothie or a brownie or whatever. Healthy food needs to be tasty. There's no point in just buying like super expensive healthy food, healthy organic, because it's the good stuff, and then just shoving it down your mouth because that's the right thing to do. You're just gonna hate yourself and you're gonna stop doing it very quickly. Alright, think about electrolytes. If you drink too much electrolytes, your body is extremely good at regulating the salt that's in it. If you drink too much electrolytes, you're gonna get thirsty. and then you're gonna pee it out. So there's not really much point unless, I don't know, like unless you're an athlete or doing heavy sports, there's not much point in getting electrolytes. Thing is, you normally get salts from food, especially in the modern era where salt is not an expensive commodity. You normally get the amount of salts that you need from your food, which is why the water that you drink has less salt than the inside of your body. Unlike sports drinks, which try to match the salt content in them to the inside of your body. The main way that you lose electrolytes is by either peeing it out or sweating. If you sweat a lot, then you also lose out the water that you sweat is like the water from inside your body, so it's very salty. I'm not a doctor or a dietitian. And then finally, antioxidants. Very important. Antioxidants are very, very important. You get them from stuff like tomatoes, which is great. I love tomatoes. The thing about antioxidants is that the process of metabolism literally works. It's like a controlled burning. When you extract food, do you know why food is burnable? Why I can just take like a carrot and just burn it? Because it's kind of, at the end of the day, it's a very similar process. Take fuel, add oxygen to it, get energy. That's basically what's happening inside of your body. Except that in your body, you're not just lighting it on fire, that would kill you. You're doing it in a controlled way, very slowly, very regulated. But you know how nature is. Nature doesn't like regular rules and regulation, and it likes to be all wibbly wobbly and schmoozly does. And that's why things can go wrong, and they often do. And when things go wrong, you basically get little fires that pop out inside of your cells. These things are sometimes known as free radicals. You can think of them as small fires that just light up. They're basically, the most common ones are what's known as reactive oxygen species, basically a chemical that has oxygen in it, and because oxygen is just so good at messing with everything and reacting with everything, then it's gonna go, when you have free oxygen in your body, it's gonna go and react with stuff that it shouldn't. And so if oxidants go around, if like the oxygen stuff goes around oxidizing stuff, how do you deal with it? Well, that's why you have the helpfully named antioxidants. They act as buffers. Whenever there's a fire, they act as the thing that the fire can burn instead of burning important stuff. When the free radicals try to react with the actually important chemicals in your body, instead they get buffered by the antioxidants, and then they react, and then they get happy because they did their thing and they don't react anymore. Antioxidants can come in a lot of ways. One of them is overwork. If you're constantly stressed, if you're not sleeping enough, if you're not eating enough, then your body will basically work overtime and you will generate a lot of oxidants. Especially, it can be especially bad in your stomach. If you have constant sleep deprivation, you might feel stomach aches and the like. That's because of what's known as oxidative stress. Your stomach is literally just working too hard. Things go wrong because it's overworking itself, and then there's a lot of fires in it, like a factory whose boss never lets them sleep and just forces them to work. I've never heard of it talked in such terms, but isn't this literally about pH balance? It's not about pH balance, no. Oxidative stress is something else. It can affect the pH because it's gonna mess up the cells. But it's gonna mess up the cells that make the acid, but it's not about pH balance. Although pH balance can also be an issue if your stomach is too acidic or not acidic enough. The not acidic enough is the slightly, I guess, softer option where you just get indigestion and you can't absorb stuff very well. Having a stomach that is too acidic though is really bad, because it can burn stuff inside of it. That's how you get stuff like acid reflux and other not very fun things, and ulcers. Fun fact, one of the ways to deal with acid reflux is literally eating chalk. Turns out those kindergartners were onto something. So the thing about chalk is that chalk is mostly made out of a thing called calcium carbonate. Chalk is a piece of limestone made up of calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate, like most minerals, is a base, meaning it has a high pH. When you combine it with your stomach, which has a low pH, they cancel each other out. So literally, just your stomach becomes less acidic. And your stomach is very acidic. You have like hydrochloric acid or something inside of you. It's like extremely. I understand oxidative stress is more about the accumulation of protein damage due to pH balance. What I mean is that the presence of free radicals is literally measured in pH, is it not? Measure of pH is about protons being stripped away. Or given. I'm not sure, actually. Let me Google this, because I'm not sure. I don't really know how they measure the free radicals. Not all of them are protons. not all of them are protons. Some of them are just nasty chemicals. A lot of them have oxygen in them. It's just nasty stuff. So yeah, so the pH does measure the free protons, but it's not just about the protons. There's other stuff. Sure, having a bunch of protons floating around can also do damage because they're also going to react with stuff. But the free radicals is more so about a little bit more complex stuff, as well as the protons. Yeah, it's you can have a lot of protons because the process of metabolism also creates free kind of like this free floating protons and electrons, which it uses later. And if your system is out of whack, you can make too much of it. You can make too much protons and electrons, and then they go haywire. It's not supposed to happen, but if you overwork your body, strange things start happening that are not supposed to happen. Especially if you're not sleeping enough, if you're working, like if you do a lot of sports and stuff, then antioxidants are important. But again, they're not this magical ingredient that's gonna cure everything about you. If someone is claiming that they have this one weird esoteric thing that's gonna save you, it probably isn't. If it was that easy, everyone would be doing it. Let's talk a little bit about proteins. You might not know, but proteins is like one of the major reasons why you piss. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have eaten that extra steak after all, huh? This is a real fact. I was astonished to learn about this, but the reason why proteins cause you to piss, what's happening is that proteins are made out of amino acids, which have nitrogen in them. When you have too much amino acids, your body can't really store them, so it converts them into sugar. Sugar molecules, or glucose, is made out of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Notice how there's no nitrogen in there, but the amino acids have nitrogen, so you're gonna have to do something with it. And you can't just keep that hydrogen around like as an atom. You're gonna have to keep it in some form. Well, as it turns out, one of the way that you get rid of the nitrogen in the protein is you turn it into ammonia. But ammonia has a problem. It's toxic. You don't want it inside of your body. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like it when my body starts creating toxins inside of me. So that's why your body is smart. And instead of just keeping the ammonia as is and letting it wreck a bunch of things in your body, it turns the ammonia into urea. Urea is slightly stabler and better, but also not good to have in your body for too long. You get too much of it and you get gout, which is very painful. It's when you have like urea accumulating in, I think, the feet and joints and the like, and then you get like piss crystals essentially. They're piss crystals and they travel to your bloodstream and they tear holes and stuff because they're crystals. Anyway, enough about piss crystals. Let's talk about actual piss. So the urea then goes to get stored in your bladder with a whole bunch of extra water, and then eventually you pee it out. Now, of course, there's a bunch of other stuff in your pee. That's your body gets rid of things in three ways. It can get rid of things by sweating them out, by pooping them out when those things are not digested. They're just in your food, but your body doesn't want them, so they just stay in the food. And then you can pee them out. If they manage to come inside of your body has your kidneys. Your kidneys always are constantly checking your bloodstream for how much salt they have, how much water they have, how much stuff you have in them. And if you have too much of stuff, then they're gonna pee it out. So some of the stuff you pee out is obviously the urea, which very quickly breaks down into ammonia once it's out of your body. Other than that, you're also peeing out phosphorus, a lot of phosphorus. Phosphorus is one of the most important chemicals out there because it's used to make our dear old friend ATP. Yay! ATP is great because remember how we kept talking about energy? That's literally what energy is. It's like a snappable battery. You snap it and you get the energy out of it. You literally break it. It's made out of adenosine triphosphate. So there's an adenosine base with 3 phosphates. You literally break the final phosphate, and that's how you get the energy. And then when you want to recharge it, you just you have your mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, and your mitochondria will make energy by stitching it together, taking the ADP diphosphate, because there's only 2 of them, combining it with the phosphate, and then you get ATP again. Very cool, very nice. So you make in a day about as much ATP as your body weight, which is a crazy fact in my opinion. Life sure is strange. Generally the amount of calories that a person needs is about 2,000 for an adult male, between 2,000 and 2,500 calories. Yeah, also don't starve yourself. Hey, big tip, don't starve yourself. I see a lot of diets where it's like, oh, you just eat very, very little and you don't eat much, and just starve, bro, just starve, just don't eat and then you'll be fine. yes, you will lose weight because you will have to burn the calories, but also it's not a good solution. The thing is, your body goes into a fight at the beginning. When you're starving yourself at the beginning, sure, you're gonna lose weight fast, but then your body goes into like this fight or flight mode where I don't know when the next meal is gonna be, so I better plan for the long term. I better not burn too much calories because who knows if I need to survive. Because you have to realize that the human body is built to be a storage. You're supposed to have like a few big meals and then survive the winter, pretty much. Because of that, it's very good at stockpiling. It's very good at stockpiling food for later. If you're starving, your body is gonna use those same mechanisms, which are now kind of obsolete. So don't starve yourself. Do make sure you're eating enough. Make sure to get a lot of exercise. Some of it is unfortunately genetics, and I think now, this is my opinion, disclaimer, this is kind of my opinion. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not like I don't research this kind of stuff. So I don't know fully what the science says, but from my understanding, genetics seem to sort of give you a range where it's not like, oh, you got the gene that always makes you like 50 kilograms. No, it's like it gives you a range, and your body will try and stay within that range, barring extreme circumstances. If you eat a ton of stuff that is full of uranium, like that is full of calories, like if you're chugging those uraniums down the pipe hole, then yeah, you're gonna become fat because there's a lot of calories coming in and not as much coming out. My advice is eat stuff, find stuff that you like, that you can actually keep it up, because diets are not meant to be, oh, you do it for like a month, you get skinny and then you stop. It's meant to be just the way that you eat for life. So find foods that you actually like and find filling foods. You don't have to go, oh, I can't have too much calories and then eat just like one scoop of ice cream, because that's as much as you can have. Eat stuff that will make you feel full, that has a lot of fiber in it. So that's why fruits and vegetables are really good for this kind of stuff, and salads. But if you don't like to, then you don't have to. Find something. If you don't like salads, then don't eat salads. It's that simple. Just eat something else. I don't know. Sometimes there's this pervasive atmosphere of you have to like eat healthy at any cost. Doesn't matter if you're hating every morning that you get up because of the stuff that you eat, and you only eat this like ultra processed grey goop that technically has all your nutrients but tastes like garbage. Also, the same advice goes to sports. Some studies actually say that even if you exercise more, you don't burn more calories because your body is compensating for it by burning less calories on other activities. You should still exercise though. Exercise is good. It doesn't just help with calories, it also your body was literally made to be physical and hunt your food. So a lot of stuff operates on the mechanism of use it or lose it. If you don't use your muscles enough, they will degrade. Same with bones. A common problem for astronauts that go to space. Their bones shrink. If you hate it, if every time you go out to like a jog or something, you hate it, then don't go jogging. Do something else. There's like this connection between jogging and like diet and exercise and weight loss. So a lot of times when people think, oh, time to get in shape, they'll start jogging, even though jogging is really one of the worst things that you can do. Like, obviously it's good for your body, but so many things can go wrong with jogging. You can just not enjoy it because it's really, really painful. It's much easier to do like, I don't know, like push-ups or whatever. And you can also get injured. If you're a couch potato and then suddenly one day you I don't know, run like a marathon, even if you manage to do it, you're gonna get a ton of injuries. And those things can be permanent as hell. If you don't know what you're doing, don't just go from a couch potato lifestyle to a super intense sport lifestyle. The best advice, just go to like a gym, find a trainer, find someone who knows what they're doing and just ask them. Human knowledge, the reason why humans are so advanced is because of our ability to share knowledge and build upon it. Why do you need to rediscover the wheel? Other people already know what to do, just ask them. Also, gyms are great for many reasons, and one of the biggest ones is the social aspect. I don't think it's talked enough. I don't think it's talked enough because people who are already in the socials, in this kind of spheres where they go for the gym or stuff like that, then they're gonna talk about the gym stuff in their gym circle, and they might not talk about it outside of it. The social aspect of exercise is really important. You can find people that also want to exercise and they do the things you do, and you can do it together, and you can hang out, and you can like exchange knowledge and do stuff with each other. And oh my god, it's so much easier For example, in my office, sometimes we will just do like an exercise before we go to eat. And I'm telling you, when I'm alone in the office and there's no one else, I just don't do those because I'm too lazy to do them. But then when there's other people, it's a lot easier because, like herd mentality and all that. Sometimes you really do need to treat yourself like a baby that needs to be in the right place at the right time to do stuff. And you gotta proactively make sure that you get into those right space, right time. Common buzzwords that I see in videos being talked about. Electrolytes. They put electrolytes in everything. Like, you don't need a granola bar with electrolytes in it. The vitamins, unless you're missing them, you don't need them. And if you think you're missing them, get a blood test. It'll tell you exactly what you're missing. Minerals. Sure, you can have some supplements. A varied diet should give you everything you need. But again, like vitamins, if you're missing stuff, then just get it. Proteins. Proteins are amazing, actually. Proteins are great. It's harder to eat too much proteins because breaking them down into sugar costs energy. So even if you have a lot of them, you don't get as much energy per one because you have to pay energy to turn it into sugar, and then like the net benefit that you get out of it is not that much. But still, eat a ton of protein and bad stuff will happen. And you need fats and carbohydrates, aka sugars. You need them. There's no if, and, or buts. Make sure to get enough of your calories. Make sure to get enough carbs. Whether that means you need to get some rice next to your steak or whatever. Because it's good, because proteins and especially if it's like red meat, then it would have a lot of fat in it. Then fat is also hard to break. Like, your body needs to break it down. Sure, you want to slow down the process of breaking the sugars to keep your blood sugar level stable, but you also don't want to make it too hard on your body, because then you're gonna have malnutrition, you're gonna have low blood sugar, you're gonna have a lot of bad symptoms like being dizzy, being lethargic, not having a lot of energy. Bad stuff. Bioavailability, you might I've seen some videos that mention it. They're saying, oh, this thing has a lot of minerals, but they're not bioavailable, so you can't digest it. Like, sure, whatever. If they're not bioavailable, that just means you poop them out. Like, they're not gonna do anything to you. I've seen the word anti-nutrient somewhere. Honestly, I have no idea what it's even talking about. I think that's that's on the more deep end side of the whole food conspiracy propaganda stuff. What the hell is an anti-nutrient? Like, am I eating antimatter? Am I eating an anti-vitamin that's just going to connect with my vitamin? And isn't that just poison? Yeah, I would call poison anti-nutrient. And finally, about poisons, just I suppose a little segment about poisons would do well as well. It's the dosage makes the poison. Never be scared about, like, there's a lot of fear mongering around like chemicals. Like, someone say, oh, there's this thing which there's like arsenic in here or whatever. It's all about the dosage. If there's trace amount of even really powerful poisons like cyanide, arsenic, whatever, if there's small amounts, it's not gonna do much. Like, mercury is bad for you, but the food that you eat already has a small amount of mercury in it. Your body can handle a small amount, as long as you're not like touching broken thermostats or whatnot. You'll be fine. You're probably not gonna get mercury poisoning from just like eating fish. Although, I don't know, you might if there's like a factory near you that's leaking mercury into the fish, which has happened multiple times just in Japan. Well, it happens in the rest of the world, but it happened multiple times in Japan. Please don't ask me about like what specific foods to eat, because again, I'm not a dietitian. I don't know. Depends on what you're aiming for and what kind of lifestyle you have. There's plenty of guides online though that I would recommend you look. Like, just say like, I don't know, male 70 kilogram, light exercise, good diet. I have a Discord server if you're interested in coming. There is, every day I do a daily fact. Every day I do a daily factor where it's like an interesting biology fact. I do this kind of stream every Sunday where during the first half we talk about the 7 facts of that week and provide additional context. And then during the latter half we talk about just like a random topic. So today's topic was healthy food. Next week's topic is the birds and the bees. No, it's not going to be NSFW. We're literally going to be talking about birds and bees.